As we mentioned earlier, a second atmospheric river is hitting California in less than a week. These storm systems have brought significant amounts of rain, flooding, and mudslides to California. Atmospheric rivers are important for the western water supply. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says 30 to 50% of the region's annual precipitation comes from these weather events. But experts also say that climate change could make these storms stronger and more common, supercharging them. CBS News senior national and environmental correspondent Ben Tracy joins us from our Los Angeles bureau. First of all, Ben, so we know rivers are on the ground. When we hear atmospheric rivers in the air, it sounds kind of weird. What is it?
Yeah, so basically these are rivers of water vapor that are pushed by the wind. And we call them rivers because they are long, narrow bands of water vapor in the atmosphere. And when we talk about the size of these things, they can stretch for about 500 miles across and about 2,000 miles long. And when you talk about how much water vapor is in these, it can be up to 20 times the flow of the Mississippi River. So just kind of picture that in the sky and you get a sense of just how much water is often headed towards the west coast when these things happen. And basically they slam into the coast, they hit the Sierra Nevada mountains, and all that moisture gets wrung out, and that's when we get images like the ones you're seeing there, all this flooding that's occurred in the last couple of days.
So Ben, climate change didn't invent atmospheric rivers, but it does change how they act.
Exactly. These are a natural phenomena that have happened. They happen all winter long here in California, and in some ways they're very beneficial. We get a lot of our moisture, our rain, and our snow from these storm systems. But what's happening with climate change is because the atmosphere is warmer on a warmer planet, there's more moisture in it. It can hold more moisture. So when these storms happen, they can be more intense and they drop more rainfall, and that makes the damage from these storms more devastating.
And what has California done, if anything, to change how they work to deal with atmospheric rivers being worse in the future?
Yeah, I mean, that is an ongoing process because basically the infrastructure in a state like California or Oregon or Washington, where these things often hit, it's built for a climate that doesn't really exist anymore. These storms are getting so much more powerful, more of them are happening, that they really have to reevaluate the infrastructure, everything from, the sewage systems, how this water drains out of cities, where houses are located in terms of flood-prone areas. And then on the flip side of this, how do we capture more of this water when it does happen? We're often talking about drought out here in the West. So when the dry season happens, you need all this moisture. And what is happening now is the planet is warming. More and more of our moisture in the winter is falling as rain instead of snow. So instead of kind of melting gradually over the course of the winter and flowing into reservoirs, we're getting a lot of this stuff all at once in terms of these massive rainstorms. So there are calls to actually build more reservoir storage in a state like California so we have that water when we need it.
Ben, I didn't mean to bury the lead here, but this is the most interesting part of the interview, that you flew on a plane with scientists over 2 different atmospheric rivers. What was that like? What are they studying and what are they trying to learn?
Yeah, so we just did this. We took off from Honolulu and we flew with these researchers. It was about an 8-hour flight, and they basically fly in the exact same plane that they go hunt hurricanes for during hurricane season. But instead of hunting hurricanes, they are riding an atmospheric river, and they drop these little instruments that have parachutes on them down into these storms so they can get all sorts of readings about how much moisture, the pressure of this thing. And what they're really trying to do is get a better handle on how intense these systems are going to be when they make landfall and where are they going to hit. And that's so they can improve the forecast. That can protect lives, it can protect property, and it also can give reservoir operators, we talked about the water storage issue, it can give them more information so they know, do we need to release a bunch of water out of a reservoir to make room for this upcoming storm? Or if it's not going to hit this particular area, do we hold on to this water so we're not wasting it? So they're really trying to get a better handle on that. And they do say that these flights so far have already improved the accuracy of forecasts for atmospheric rivers by 10%. That may not sound like a lot, but that means a whole lot when you're a meteorologist trying to tell people where these things are going to hit.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. By the way, is this latest river, is it like, what is it done now, or what is it like there in LA now?
No, this is ongoing. I can hear the rain falling right out the window here. It's been going nonstop, basically for the last 48 hours. And we got, I think, about 24 more hours of rain. And some areas are just getting hit with phenomenal amounts of rain. I mean, we're talking upwards of 10 inches, 12 inches in some areas. So, that's kind of like the average rainfall for an entire year in some of these spots that we're getting in the course of a couple of days.
Okay. Ben Tracy, good to see you. Thank you.